What's good, YouTube? This is your girl. I say this with zits.
Oh yeah, I knew it. I kept telling the XO, hey, don't expect this to go away. Once you take all this stuff down, once everybody supposedly put their stuff on private or pulled their stuff off their channels and everything, don't expect cowards like I say this with crotch rot to just simply go away and leave the dead dog buried. No, I knew you too well to know that you're going to come back with some more BS, with some more made up stories, with some more fantasies, with some more claiming to be the victim of all this. Oh, they came out and they attacked me for no reason. Oh, I bullied the little scrawny kid, and I didn't realize that he was an Aikido master who actually used my own body momentum against me. And so, YouTube, get that person because the bullied kid refuses to be bullied, and then go take care of them and get them taken off, so that when they get taken off, and then I can change the story around and make myself look like I was the victim all the time. Yeah, I know that your types like you, types like TJ Harris, types like what's she calling herself, Miss Labia Liquor 100%. Yeah, I know your types, and I knew you weren't going to let this rest. And believe me, why did we come at you a year later? Or rather, why did she come at you a year later? Because the fact was that, hey, I had already said my piece, and I had it out there for the whole world to listen to, until that little bull dyke who kept sniffing up in your crotch, Miss Bull Dyke 100%, who, oh, by the way, isn't it interesting that she didn't confess to being a lesbian until I outed her? Not by having any actual tangible information, but just by listening to what she was saying and listening to her words and looking at her mannerisms and everything. Like I said, I've been around these people. I know what I know. And sure enough, as soon as I called it out and I started spreading the word, then she comes out of the trying to look like well, hey, I'm not going to let you get me on that one, so I'll just go ahead and admit that, yes, I used to do women. As if like, oh, you used to, but you don't do that anymore, right? That was just a little experimental phase. Well, gee, guess what? I catch wind of the fact that, no, she's still out there cyber flirting with women online, so ain't Jack changed? And I knew Jack hadn't changed, because again, like I said, I know people, and I know people like you. I say this with rotten crotch. You see, you thought what you were going to be able to do is, after this whole year span later, and again, like I said, I had said my piece, and all I had to do was just sit around and wait. Because I knew karma was going to get you, eventually. And then when it did, I was going to play my role in making sure that I had some way of sticking those needles into your ass and burning that ass up. I was just waiting for the opportunity, because I knew that at some point in the whole game, you were going to piss off one of your own. See, this is what folks like you, folks like TJ Harris, and folks like others don't understand, is that when you start slinging shit and you start slandering people and you start pulling up this little cabal around yourselves of all kinds of supporters and everything, excuse me, well, yeah, that was for you. As soon as you start doing that and you start getting high on yourself with your little ego trips and you start building up that momentum, sure enough, give you enough time, give you enough rope, you will hang yourself by going up against one of your own supporters, all half-assed and cockeyed, and they'll have something on your ass to which will burn you to you know where. And all I had to do was wait. That's why I didn't come after you. And you wanted me to come after you. You kept creaming your panties, expecting me to keep coming after you. And the reason for that was because I kept hearing through the grapevine that, hey, that I say this with whatever. She's still slamming on people coming to her channel, claiming that, oh, you're still making all these sock accounts and all these ghost accounts to keep harassing you.
And everybody and their grandmother knows I have only 3 channels, and I've only had only 3 channels. Well, I've had to replace one of them because that panty sniffer follower of yours, that chopped-headed bull dyke who's gotten so ethered now by getting the little commentary trolling thing done on her now, that now she doesn't show her face anymore. Gee, surprise, surprise, huh? But yeah, so we keep hearing all this stuff about she's still calling somebody come over there and disagreed with one of her videos, and first thing out of her mouth is she's calling that person General Backlash. It's like, why do you love me so much? Why do I make your panties moist so much? Why is it that my name cannot help but escape through your lips or through your typing fingers? You're the one who keeps saying, "Oh, I'm over this. I'm done with this. I'm not even studying this whole thing." And yet, every time I turn around, I'm hearing somebody else coming up me, informing me. It's like, "Hey, she's still calling all these other different people who disagree with you. She's calling them you." And I'm like, what kind of psychotic, and you always talk about everybody else has an obsession with you. We had let this stuff go a long time ago, and so much so that even after your little that little bull dyke that keeps sniffing up under your skirt all the time started her little campaign, because she didn't like getting called out either after she starts the whole bullshit slinging. And yes, all that stuff's still up there too. All of her crap, all of your crap, it's still out there. It's still available. The only thing is that you have to go to some other channel in order to ask the owner of that channel permission to be put on to have a private. And Pentazoid, this goes for you. Because I understand that you're talking to Colonel of Wisdom, and you're confused as to how this whole beef got started between her and I say this with pockmarked zits. And first of all, let me assure you that all this beef that she has with Colonel of Wisdom did not start between her and Colonel of Wisdom. It started between I Say This With Stinking Cunt and General Backlash. That's how it started. That's where it started. And again, what I Say This With Delusion is trying to pull across everybody's eyes is that, oh, General Backlash just came after me for no reason. He just started attacking me. He just started laying into me, and so I had to get him. I had to shout him down. I had to block him, and I had to blah blah blah. But let me go to my friend's Cassandra's channel here, and I'll let my own voice speak for itself. Well, actually, I'll let her voice speak for itself, because this was a commentary video that I had on my original Backlash channel, which I kept challenging her, and I kept challenging her, and I kept challenging her. It's like, look, here's what you're saying. Here's how you're going all batshit crazy, talking out of the side of your neck, where you're getting all your facts and your information incorrect. Here's the issues that you need to address, and presenting things as I do, where I say, hey, let's interact on that level, and then it turns into attack, and it turns into slander, and you expect me to just roll over and take it? No, ho, it don't work that way. So, just for the sake of everybody's benefit, I'm going to play the first 3 minutes of this particular video. Again, as I said, Pentazoid and Ali, and now that we know that it was Ali who shared those pictures with us, and kudos, Ali. I'm going to be addressing those a little bit later, but I want everybody to get at least a little bit of sense as to where this whole mess got started, because everybody who's had these major issues with the general and later on his XL, because keep in mind, they don't come after a Colonel of Wisdom until they come after me first. If you ever notice, that's the pattern. They don't ever start to slander or harangue or troll Colonel of Wisdom until they try to get a rise out of General Backlash first. And it's only when they see that they can't smack General Backlash down into silent oblivion, then they gotta attack his XO. It's like, well, hey, if we can't get him, then we'll get his friend. So, we'll get that little tag team partnership that he made up with her. So, so that, maybe he'll back down if we go after what everybody's saying, his wife, his girlfriend, his lover, his cyber flirt, or whatever anybody thinks the relationship between myself and Colonel of Wisdom is. That's all fine, well, and dandy. But as I said before, I wanted a tag team partner because I knew that I was going to be going up against some heads, especially with some of these dishonorable and disreputable and disingenuous black women out there. And I knew that in order to squelch a lot of that stuff, I needed another black woman who was clear as to what was going on, who understood the tactics, and who had the fortitude to actually stand up to a lot of this BS and actually smack it down when it came their way. And so people like Caramel and people like I Say This didn't expect a black woman with brains and with some kick-ass behind her to actually stand up to their rhetoric and to their bullshit. And so as a result of that, figuring out, well, hell, now we got two of them that we can't shut up or silence or shove off into silent oblivion or any damn thing else. So now what else can we do? Oh, let's slander them. Let's make up some lies. Let's make up some stories about them. Let's say this, that, and the other about them. And I Say This came up with this really clever, ingenious thing. It's like, they're the same person. Let's call them that. They're the same person. So there's really no difference between them. It's all the same person. And so as a result of that, Colonel of Wisdom got a little, I don't know how to explain it. And I kept trying to tell her, it's like, look, don't put yourself out there like that, because as soon as you do, what's going to happen is you've just made yourself a convenient target for these morons and these idiots, and who are just going to take that, who are going to run off with it, who are going to abuse you, who are going to say any slanderous or nasty thing that they can about you, while they continue to hide behind the shadows. Well, with the exception of Caramel Cunt Liquor 100. I mean, at least for all of her bullshit and all of her whiny crybaby bullying tactics and shenanigans, at least she had enough of a character about herself to actually put herself out on video. But I knew that I Say This was going to be a total coward as far as that went. Because again, I knew that, hey, as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, fine. Then let's see if you can do the same thing. If you're half the woman, if you're even half the woman that Colonel of Wisdom is, then why don't you do exactly what she did? Just put yourself out there for 4 seconds. That's all. 4 seconds. On camera, motion capture, so that way nobody would, you wouldn't put no picture of a supermodel up there and every doggone thing else, trying to pretend that, hey, this is what I really look like. No. Put your little ugly mug up there. Now, of course, as I said before, now we know why you wouldn't do that. But be that as it may, I say that's all you need to do. Just 4 seconds.
Reciting your little line, I say this with stinking.
That's all you had to do. And then leave it up there for about 4 days or 5 days, the same length of time that Colonel Wisdom left hers up there. And you know what would have happened had you done that? You would have won. I would have been walking away with so much egg on my face because I dared to challenge you on that, expecting you not to do anything. And had you thrown that in my face like that, I would have been the one looking like a jackass and looking like a fool, because I called somebody out and they answered me in kind and called my bluff, and now I got nothing. I wouldn't have had a damn thing to come back at you with, because you would have proven to me that I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, number one. And number two, that there was nothing that I could say or do to you to get a rise out of you or to get your goat. But see, again, like I said, I've studied people like you, so I already knew that I could walk away with my head held high, because you were not going to do anything of the kind. I knew you weren't. And so as a result of that, of your little hiding, of your ducking, and of course attacking from the shadows and making up stories and every doggone thing else, you could say anything and everything you wanted to. And as I said, all I had to do was wait. All I had to do was wait until you eventually pissed off one of your own, somebody who was supporting you, somebody who was following you, somebody who tried to get your back, who, as a result of that, even ended up having beef with me. And I don't know if maybe she still has issues with me or stuff. I don't know. If she does, okay, that's her prerogative. I'm not going to hold that against her. I rub people the wrong way. I get that. That's part of my charm. Well, for those who think it's charming anyway. But, that's what people know about me. They know that I ruffle feathers. And some people, they appreciate that, and they say, hey, thank you for going hard. We need more voices like yours. And there are people who are like, man, you need to tone your stuff down. You're not helping the situation. And then there are those who are others who are more than likely saying, oh man, you're this, that, and the other. You're just lonely, and you're not getting any pussy, and you just hate yourself, and you hate blah, 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 blah. And so, whatever. However anybody responds and reacts to me, that's all well and good, because I put myself out there as I am about the things that I'm passionate about. And as I said before, this goes in line with what I told you from the very get-go when you started accusing all these different people coming in, claiming that they were me. For, again, like I said, because, I don't know, my name is like the magical Shazam or something, and it's like as soon as you say that, your panties get soaking wet or something. I don't know, you must have these enthralling orgasms just as soon as you say the name General Backlash. And so, I don't know, maybe you've got a secret crush on me or something, I don't know. I mean, I've been out there, my image, or some version of my image has been out there forever. So, again, as I said, why you would even try to make this connection like, oh, you're just a man pretending to be a woman, or you're a woman pretending to be a man and whatnot. And it's like, look, many people have tried to tell you time and again, it's like, look, we've seen the man, we know what he looks like, we are familiar with Kernel of Wisdom as B-Val on Generation X. She's had pictures of herself posted over there. You're delusional, you're just grasping at straws. But no, you didn't want to hear all that stuff from anybody else. But I even told you myself from the very get-go. It's like, look, bitch, if I've got anything that I got to say to you, I'm going to come at you in my own name. Or any one of my 3 names, as it were. New Talented 10th, General Backlash, Kid Brother is watching. That's who I am. That's who I've always been. I don't need to make up any damn thing else to come at you. Except another uploaded video. And just hope that it gets spread around. And oh, speaking of videos, by the way, that little thing where you got a little upset because,
Yeah, they're showing my face. I wasn't allowed.
okay, granted, you're absolutely right. That was low on the Colonel's part. I'm not going to deny that. But again, like I said, how's it feel being trolled now? The stuff that you dished out and the stuff that you gave, now that's starting to come back and bite you in your ass, especially after it resulted from one of your own deciding that, hey, look, you done fucked up a good thing here. We had your back all this damn time. Now you're showing your true colors. So, tell you what, let's get a little ball rolling and let's expose the real reason why you keep ducking and dodging General Backlash to actually come out and show that you're as hot and sexy and as desirable as you keep pretending that you are online. And as soon as it got out there, first thing I thought you would have been proud. I was like, hey, here's this glorious, gorgeous, glamorous female who's always talking about how hot she is and how her baby daddy keeps trying to get back with her, and never mind, I exposed all that mess too. But I'm like, hey, you're so high on yourself. You try to make this pretense about how glorious and glamorous that you are and everything. Hey, here's the real story. Now do you understand why she hides behind the camera? So that's where I keep going off on so many tangents right now, but I just want to lay it out there just so to let folks know. It's like, look, you weren't fooling anybody. Well, actually, correction, you were fooling some people, but as I said, those who knew, they already knew that you are totally full of S. But for those who don't know, who still need a little help in trying to understand what all this is about, as I said, those videos that got lost as a result of your number one fan who keeps stiffing her nose up into your pussy hole because of her little whining crybaby shenanigans, expecting that she can start shit with people and slandering people and bullying people too and not expect to get hit back. As a result of all that, we had to pull all that stuff and someplace else, and the owner of the Cassandra channel said, hey, I've got a solution for you. Why not upload those videos over here on this channel, and so that way you can spread the word and let people know that, hey, if you want to see where all this stuff really started, if you really want to know what this whole beef between General Backlash and I Say This with Crotch Rot, and what the whole backlash between Colonel of Wisdom, how she got involved with this mess and everything, it'll be available for anybody. All they got to do is just request a contact so they can view the entire series, both I Say This stuff and Caramel stuff, and look at the timeline, look at the back and forth banter, listen to exactly what was being said, who said what, how they said it, when they said it, why they said it, and that way the truth will still get out. Let's see, y'all weren't expecting that, and so I'm going to go to that right now, and I'm going to go to one of those uploads right now because I have access. But again, as I said, if anybody else wants to know, if they're really seriously and sincere about really wanting to know how this shit got started and why it needed to be brought to such a dramatic end as it was brought to, this is all they have to do. When I originally uploaded this video, back when I had a channel that it was uploaded on, before this mirror site decided that, hey, it would be a good idea to mirror the whole thing over on this channel, I had entitled this video Attack of the Killer Shrew, and in the description I said this. Let me clean this, get down here, find out what this is about. Give me just a half a second, please. Okay, and he notes that he left my original description on here. So, as I wrote as a description, I said, quote, how do you, will you please, excuse me, stuff's messing with me. It says, quote, how do you trap a monkey? Ask the user who goes by the handle I Say This With Love. She'll soon be able to tell you from personal experience, after the general concludes laying the red ass smackdown on her throughout this series of uploads. In part 2, which was this particular video that I'm highlighting right now, in part 2 we'll examine and expose the lies and dirty underhanded tactics used by these baby mama agenda frauds who refuse to take any responsibility or allow themselves to be held to any account for their dejected and unenviable state. No matter what's said, no matter who says it, no matter how much what's said is based in facts and truth, but in the mind of a, what was I trying to say? Okay, it looks like I did some typo there. But in the minds of a bitter and lonely and alone baby mama agenda fraud, it's always the black man's fault. Everyone, please place your bets, grab a comfortable seat, and enjoy the wall of rejection firestorm. It's showtime. End quote. Boy, that was a tough read. But then again, like I said, I had a few, excuse me. Well, actually, no, don't excuse me. That's my little gift to I Say This. But yeah, a few typos kind of tripped me up there. But essentially, this is where the whole thing got started. I had listened to one of I Say This's videos, and as I do, if I feel that somebody's coming at an issue the wrong way, I'm going to make a comment on it. And especially if it's one of these black male bashing videos, which, again, as I said before, if anybody has paid any real attention to me, I'm an equal opportunity basher. I'll bash black women and I'll bash black men equally when I feel they need to be bashed, because the problem is that the two sides are on so much of an ego trip of hatred of the other that they need a little help in actually coming to a middle ground, to a consensus. And so I'm trying to be the person with the target on both the front and the back, saying, look, you've both got legitimate grievances. What we need to do is stop slamming each other and listen to each other's gripes and complaints and then let's try to come together and actually work on something, as opposed to just screaming and hollering and berating somebody just for the sake of, oh, I just want to show how much I hate the other person. You don't get any solutions that way. And so that's why when you do get people like Colonel of Wisdom or like Jazzy Slim or like Ambi or somebody else that actually comes along and says, hey, we need to stop all this this demonization of black men, and then you get a few black men that come along. Well, I'm actually one of the few black men who actually will take the side of a black woman when I think that it's proper and correct, and I'll call out black men on their bullshit and say, look, we need to come together and we need to get off of this, slinging and every darn thing else. But as I've said before, and as I've said time and again, and as I will keep saying, in order for the problems to be fixed, it has to start with the black woman, because she bears the greater burden of responsibility. Always has, always will. And that's part of what I was explaining when I go to these, when I challenge some of these black women who are on these black male hatred, talking about these deadbeat black fathers and all this other mess, which was the kick that I Say This With Stinking Cunt was on. And it's like, look, you got to understand that as much as you want to blame black men for this, that, and the other, you had the full and ultimate responsibility. If you did not want to get pregnant with somebody's baby, you did not have to get pregnant. But she kept going on and on talking about how her deadbeat baby daddy, this, that, and the other, and just using her own words against her. I was like, look, here's really what it came down to. You wanted this nigga so badly that you tried to trap him with a baby. And in doing that, you couldn't figure out why he turned nasty on you, and why he became unmotivated, and why he didn't want to have anything to do with you, and why he became an alcoholic. Well, she claims he became an alcoholic after she found out he was pregnant. It was like, ding, 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 ding. That ought to let you know something. But no, you try to explain things like this. It's like, look, you had the ultimate say-so in this matter. If you wanted a man of character or a man of quality or something, or if you wanted to hold on to a man for whatever reason, the last thing you're going to do is make a baby by him and expect that, oh, well, now he's going to be responsible, when you know damn well from the get-go he's totally irresponsible anyway, and he's unmotivated, and he doesn't want a family. And so typical delusional black and living in denial black women such as this always had to keep turning it around. It's not my fault, it's not my fault, it's his fault, or in the rare few instances, the whole it takes two to tango thing. They're like, no, it doesn't. It only takes one. Because whoever owns the vagina is the one who has the control over whether or not a pregnancy happens. Unless somebody gets forcibly violated, that whole responsibility falls completely in the woman's lap. Doesn't mean that you don't need a man to take care of business in order to get it done. But again, who let that man inside of her? You had the final say-so as to whether or not you allowed this thing to happen. So I've always come at it with that logic and with that perspective that says, look, you can't keep playing victim all the time. If you want to keep playing victim, then give up every single one of those rights that you won under the feminist movement, or all these little perks and privileges that you won as a result of feminism saying that you're an equal. Because clearly you don't want to be an equal, you want to continue to be a victim. So if you want to continue to be a victim, give up all those goodies and all those perks then, and go back to being a housefrau then. With someone with no rights and all this domestic burden thrown upon you. If that's what you want, hey, fine. I can adapt. But see, if we're going to live in an age where we're saying, women are powerful, women are strong, women are responsible, then you've got to play that game across the board. You can't just pick and choose when it's convenient for you, when I want to be equal and when I want to be subservient. It doesn't work that way. You've got to pick and choose. But anyway, that's how this whole mess got started. And as a result of my trying to explain that in order to fix the black community and to stop this pandemic of black single baby mamas, that black women had to get some strength and character about themselves in order to put a damper on this thing. Here's what I get instead from I Say This With Zit Face. And I'm going to play about the first 3 minutes of this. Like I say, if anybody wants to listen to the full series of this, I'll contact me. I'll let you know who to contact, and y'all can get on that what they call that contact list, and you can have the private viewing for yourselves, and then you can spread the information. Just like I say, this ugly mug is being spread far and wide. Oh yeah, that's right. That's what I forgot to mention too. This little thing about getting your stuff knocked off of Kernel of Wisdoms. Like I said, you're going to get trolled now because there are a lot of people who you pissed off who decided that, hey, the cat's out of the bag. Let's keep this, or the cat shit in this instance. Well, it's out of the bag now, so let's do our part to make sure that it stays out of the bag. So just because you got it taken down off of one channel, it's finding itself being mirrored all about throughout not just YouTube, but it's going to find its way on Gen X. It's going to find its way on Black Men Vent. In fact, I'm thinking I may even upload it to my old Daily Motion channel and just give people the link to that one as well. And like I said, we're spreading the word. We want this out there until you either shut down or shut up. Your choice. Pick and choose. But like I said, you wanted to be all big and bad and everything. You wanted to, have this big old ego trip about how you could slander somebody and how you could smear somebody's character and reputation and how you can mock somebody on their looks or whatever the heck it was. Well, okay, now it's your turn to field some of the missiles. How you like us now? So, anyway, like I said, let me go ahead and stop running my mouth just long enough so that you can hear me running my mouth pre-recorded. So, like I said, I'm going to run about maybe the first 3 minutes of this. And, again, like I said, this will give you a little bit of an indication or a little bit of insight of to exactly how and why this stuff really got bent out of shape the way it did and why there's all this animosity going around.
Prance around like some common shameless hoe, which is apparently what you did, because I don't know who the hell or why the hell anybody would want to get with a rotten fetid crotch like you with that nasty stink-ass attitude that you project. I mean, who could stand to be around that, really? I mean, guys, I raise the question to you right here, right now. Would you, never mind you want to do that. I know you want to do it, because she's a psycho. And if there's one thing we understand about psychos, they're some of the best damn lays out there, according to the conventional wisdom out there. So you want to get with a psychotic bitch if you want the best lay of your life. But outside of that, is that somebody that you would really feel comfortable settling down with? Really? Come on, guys, raise your hands. How many of you would come straight out and say that I would love to make a life with a woman like I say this with duh? Yeah, that's what I thought. And you know what? Who can blame them? Really? Who can blame any man out there for not wanting to get involved with a rotten, fetid crotch like I say this with duh? I mean, just listen to how she expresses herself and how she presents herself as someone whose username is a radical paradox of everything that she stands for. Listen to this screeching, fraudulent heifer. This is your
girl. I say this with love.
This is how your girl, I say this with love, says it with love. In her own words. Gentlemen, pay close attention.
Basically, he's blaming when a woman gets pregnant and has a baby that it's all her fault, blah blah blah. I'm like, nigga, if you didn't want kids, wear a fucking condom, that's all. I don't need to hear none of that extra shit you talking about. Anyway, he just keeps saying the same shit over and over again and get real frustrated that it doesn't magically make sense to everyone around him. And it got to a point when I realized, yo, this dude is crazy. And I don't fuck with crazy people.
So we see right there, from the very get-go, zero accountability or responsibility for her own personal choices as far as what she does with her sexuality, what type of men that she involves herself with, her reasonings behind it. None of that responsibility or accountability falls into her lap or into the laps of women in general, or in the laps of black women in particular. Nope. Only the one with the penis has to assume full responsibility and take all the blame and all the shame. Is that the kind of woman you want to be with, boys? I'm just asking.
Talking about general backlash. Ain't a woman in the world stupid enough. This dude sitting here talking about, oh, women ain't shit, and he's hating on women, and he's talking this shit like his dick is actually, like his cock means something. Talking about, obviously he hates children too, hates women, hates children. I mean, and he's saying all of this. It's not like he's hiding it and being secretive about it. It's out in the open. Talking about, obviously he hates children too, hates women, hates children. I mean, and he's saying all of this. It's not like he's hiding it and being secretive about it. It's out in the open. He hates children too, hates women, hates children. 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 I mean, and he's saying all of this. I mean, and he's saying all of this. I mean, and he's saying all of this. He hates children too, hates women, hates children. I mean, and he's saying all of this. So I was like, alright, ain't a black woman that stupid.
So when you refuse to co-sign these shameless floozies and bring presents to their pity party, you get labeled with all sorts of accusations, and you have all sorts of lies and distortions told about anything that you've said or done. You get labeled as a hater, you get labeled as a black woman basher. So I've admitted that I hate women and children. Show me any text comment that I ever made, or point out any video that I have ever uploaded where I have blatantly said that I hate women and I hate children. I challenge anybody to find out where I said that anywhere. But you, personally, I say this with you better be damn thankful that this is the anonymity of the internet and not some court of law where I'd have your ass set up to be sued for libel and slander. But since you've already made that bitter and pissy accusation, you show me exactly where in any text comment or you pull up in any video upload that I've ever done or produced where I have literally come out and said, in context, just in case you want to do some cut and paste job on me, but you back your shit up, and you show me exactly where I have ever said either of those two things. I'll be waiting till hell freezes over.
So anyway, I go to one of the videos.
Anyway, I'm going to let it rest at that, but you get the point. And so, this is pretty much where the whole mess got started. Again, it's one thing for me to leave a text comment on somebody's channel saying, hey, here's the situation, here's what you're leaving out, or as she stated right there from the very beginning, it's like, look, my whole point was that women have the ultimate responsibility for out-of-wedlock births and pregnancies. She flat out admitted that. And then she goes on, it's like, I'm not trying to hear all that extra shit. If you don't want to have a baby, wear a condom. And as I explained again, this is the problem. These black women out here who get left holding the bag, as it were, always want somebody else to blame because they figure out, oh, their little plot to try to trap a man didn't work. And so now niggas ain't shit. I got to go throw this thing in their camp. And then somebody comes around and says, no, you have final right of refusal. If you wanted a man to wear a condom, he would have worn a condom. If he didn't wear a condom when you got with him, that was your choice. Ultimately, the deciding power always rests with the woman. That was the point I made on her video originally. That's when she decided she wanted to come out with all these attacks and slanders because we had a little bit of a back and forth on that issue. Then she decides, okay, let's start making some videos about this psycho. And while I'm at it, since nobody's going to bother to check anyway, I can say whatever the hell I want to say. And so I can just vindicate myself by making myself look like the victim by saying, this man's just coming over here just to beat up on black women because he hates black women and he hates children. And that didn't set too well with me. And so I put up a series of videos where I said, look, we ain't going to let this shit slide. Especially when you control the text, the comment text boards and everything, which is another thing I really hate about YouTube, is the fact they just, willy-nilly just allow people to just silence so-called free speech or whatever. I'm not even going to get into that. But see, the thing is that when you control the board, you control what you allow to get out. And so I could be trying to defend myself till hell freezes over, but if somebody keeps hitting the delete button, delete this comment, delete this comment, delete this comment, I don't have a chance to come back with my counter rebuttal. And so, as a result of not being able to have my say so, then your team of followers and everything has this opportunity to say, oh, that guy's a psycho, blah 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 blah. He's really sounds like an ass, and they won't take the first effort to try to say. And see, this is why I like Pentazoid, because when somebody says something untoward or something that doesn't quite sound right, Pentazoid will actually go to the source, and she'll say, hey, what about this? So and so said such and such about you or about this situation. Could you please clarify it? And that's why, to this day, whether we get along or have our disagreements or not, I'm cool with Pentazoid, because at the very least, she's one who understands the importance of saying, hey, I want the straight story. I want to get my facts straight before I make a decision on who's right or who's wrong or anything of that sort. And anytime I've ever said anything that set uneasy with her, whether she agreed with my explanation or not, but she said, General, would you please explain this to me? Be more clear about it. In some instances, such as with my series on homosexual marriage and homosexual rights, which is still in the works because of the fact that my personal computer is still in the shop, and I won't be able to get to that until maybe Monday or Tuesday when everything's finally up and running again, so I can start working on that again, because I'm not even a third through with the thing yet, and I've only uploaded like the first 11 parts of what's ultimately going to be a 36-parter. So it's really in depth, and it's all intense and everything. But Pentazoid said, hey, I want to comment on this, or I want some additional insight, and I just had to explain this, like, look, I understand that you want more explanation, but because this series is so long, I just ask you to trust me on this and just go through the series with me, because I guarantee you, whatever questions you think that you're going to be raising as this series progresses, your question is going to get answered, or you're going to get the clarification that you're looking for. If after that time you still have something that you're not totally sure about, that you need some further clarification on, I'll be more than happy to address that. But see, not everybody is Pentazoid. Everybody typically has their little clique that they follow, and whatever the leader of the clique says, or whatever the little network within the clique says, people just take that and run with it, and they don't bother to find out context, or they don't bother to do backtracking or anything. This is why Caramel Labia Liquor came at me so hard, because she thought that she could play that little whole bully and slander thing with the General, and she didn't realize that, hey, there's such things as email, there's such things as messages, there's such things as announcements, there's such things as downloading your uploaded videos. And I took every single bit of that information that she kept coming at me with, she kept trying to twist and distort and everything, and I just put up the next video commentary. It's like, hey, remember what she said over here and how she said this? Hey, here's what she typed to me. Here's when she typed it to me. Here's the line, the process from point A to point Z. Here's the video response I made. Here's her follow-up video response. Here's how she's trying to twist things around. Here's exactly what was said. Here's when it was said. And see, she wasn't expecting that. She had to control the discussion. She had to control the flow of information. And so in order to do that, she had to get any rebuttal that I had that proved her to be the liar and the slanderer and the fraud. She had to get all that stuff knocked down, because once you silence the truth, then you can say any damn thing that you want to say, however you want to say it. And because people are lazy, they'll just go ahead and they'll say, oh yeah, that's right, that General Backlash, he's a freak, or his wife or his girlfriend or his whatever the heck is it, or they're the same person, or what, So because of the laziness of people when they get involved with these cliques, that requires those of us who are being slandered to actually come back and it's like, hey, look, no, we don't let this rest. But with I Say This With Stinking Cunt, decided that, well, you know what? we'll just let her bury herself. It'll take some time, but ultimately, eventually, she's going to say the wrong thing to the wrong person, and they're going to have something on her ass, and they're going to burn her with it. And as lo and behold, as I said, like I said, I didn't have a jack mess to say. I may have commented to I Say This maybe once. Maybe one other time I said something to her, and I think I was ribbing her about still being a coward about not showing her face online or something, because I had nothing of intelligence to say to her at that point, because she's just a total flooping idiot. But I think I think it was on Jazzy Slim's channel, if I'm not mistaken, also, where I just said, hey, you're still coming in, you're still talking shit, you're still slamming black women who actually talk about black women trying to have responsibility and being accountable for their own actions and whatnot. So I'm like, hey, while you're still out there and doing all that mess, I'm still waiting for you, Remember that little challenge that I left out for you? Prove that you're half the woman that Kernel of Wisdom is. Show your ugly mug online. Because I already called you out as an ugly, stinking looking. Because like I said, and I explained all my reasons as to why I believed that. The only thing that I seem to have missed is that maybe you're not quite as fat as I thought you probably would have been. But I'm sure you're still pretty chunky though. But again, I'm speculating because I can't really judge that just looking at your ugly puss. But I called everything else right. And the reason I know I called everything else right is because you never disputed any charge that I leveled against you. Not a single one. Everybody remember that? For those of you who kept up with this thing or who are familiar with it, y'all remember every single thing that I laid out about what kind of a person she was, about what she looked like, about what her character was, about what her behavior was like. Did anybody ever pay any close attention and realize that she never bothered to dispute a single thing that I said about the type of person that she was? How did I know all those things about her and I never saw the first head or hair about this woman? I didn't know the first thing about who she was, where she lived, or any of this stuff, but I pegged it so accurately that she even refused to refute anything that I said. Because typically what happens is when you say something about somebody, you make some kind of remark about their looks or their behavior or their attitude or something, very first thing a normal person would do is like, hey, you're offline. That's not the kind of person I am. This is the kind of person I am. But notice, she never did that, did she? Or did you, I should say, since I am talking to you directly. So, why'd you duck and dodge that, Could it be that I was just hitting a little too close to home with the truth? And how did I know so much about you? Because, again, like I said, I pay attention. I listen to people's words, and I read their messages. If I have to brag on myself, I had planned on going into the field of psychology when I was thinking about going to college back in the day. So yeah, that was always my field of interest, which means I know how to read people and I know what goes through their brains, which is why, like I said, when I knew that I started hitting you up with all these different challenges and I started laying you out as talking about what type of person you were, I knew that I was speaking from a position of accuracy. Never mind the fact that I didn't know the first thing about you. All I had to do was just let your own mouth do the talking, and you told me exactly everything there was to know about you. That's why you never refuted anything that I ever said about you, and so that's why you had to come back on the attack talking about somebody's looks or calling somebody crazy or slandering somebody, talking about how they hate this, that, and the other. And of course, as soon as you started getting into that pissy match with me, again, as I said, I decided that I wanted somebody to be a tag team partner. And I wanted that tag team partner to be a black woman who understood the bullshit that black women do. And I had any number of black women I could have chosen from. The only problem was that the only one that I could find who I knew would have the stick-to-itiveness and would not buckle under the pressure was Kernel of Wisdom. Because there were other names that clearly would have been like my first choice. Had I thought that, had I not noticed the pattern that whenever some of these disingenuous, harpy, shrewish black women with all this black man hatred came at them too hard, they would drop off the radar screen. I was like, look, no, I don't need that. Because I'm not going anywhere. So if I'm going to have a tag team partner in the form of a black female, I want to make sure that she has just as much tenacity as I have, and that when the fiery missiles comes her way, that she's not going to buckle under the pressure. And I warned Colonel of Wisdom from the very beginning. I said, look, they're going to come after you. You better be prepared for this. Make sure you understand what you're getting involved with if you're going to agree to do this. Because she was reluctant about it, and I kept trying to push the idea on her. So if anything, that was my fault for but like I said, I needed that kind of a backup, so because it doesn't have the same emphasis, it doesn't have the same result when you got look at the situation with Black Men Vent. All it takes is just 2 or 3 guys to get together, Mr. Legend and what the other guys' names are, and they get discredited just by default because they're part of that boy network thing. It's just a clique of the boys just beating up and bashing black women, that sort of thing. So that doesn't work. Sarge Willie Pete and Captain Solo, same thing. Oh, they're you can't put anything, you can't give them any credibility because there's two black men beating up on black women, or any other situation. So it had to be a situation where it couldn't be. Well, it would be good. It would be interesting for 2 black women to be a tag team partner like that. But again, that's still too easy a target because of the fact is like, oh, y'all just hate black women because y'all self-haters. Y'all just hate yourselves, and so you just want to give black men all this back. So no, it had to be the situation where opposites attract and opposites complement each other. It had to be a black man and a black woman walking the same line, because that way nobody can make any accusations, whatever. So if black women came out and they do the things like, say, like with Jazzy Slim or Statuesque, oh, y'all are just man-stroking, y'all are just trolling for cyber dick, or y'all just want black male validation and everything. So, okay, we needed a way to work around that. So that's how this came about. And so when we decided that, hey, okay, we are going to do this, I'm going to be a bit more passionate about it than she is, because this still really wasn't her thing, and it still isn't, even though she does participate every now and again, which of course I'm thankful for, because like I said, we need more voices like hers out there, and as long as everybody keeps hiding and kind of like hiding behind the shadows and everything, then at least one other voice out there needs to kind of keep that balance stored. So when this whole mess between myself and I Say This with Zitface decided that it was getting a little too far out of hand, or that, hey, somebody needs to come into General's corner and give him a little bit of backup to show that, he's not just totally psychotic, or that he understands something about this issue. That's when Colonel came in and decided, like, hey, look, here's what you're overlooking, here's some of the situations. And of course, like I said, as soon as she did that, the attacks started to fly again. Now here comes all the slander against Colonel of Wisdom, talking about the same sort of thing. She hates women, she hates black women, she hates children too, and she's out there and she's bullying him and cyber trolling and all this other mess, and of course, being sort of like of the same mindset that I am, she says, no, I'm not going to let this stuff stand. You are not going to slander me and expect me to just roll over and play dead. And so, like I said, I had to find somebody who was as much of a fighter as I am, and I found it in this one. And she says, look, you slander me, or you come at me wrong, or you try to put words in my mouth, I'm going to set you right back in your place. And if you're going to do something where you're going to try to make me feel down on myself, or you're going to try to make me a mockery in people's eyes or anything, hey, let me show you how it's really done too. And so, like I said, y'all weren't expecting that. Y'all just thought that all you gotta do is just say some little nasty things about somebody and expect, oh, they'll just go away now because we're making them look bad and we're embarrassing them in front of everybody on this network. It's like, you're going up against a couple of pros at the game. Let's show you how it's really done. And y'all couldn't handle it, so y'all had to twist, distort, make up any lie that you could. And of course, while you're at it, talk about how much I'm a psycho, or she's a psycho, or we're psychos, or how. And then, of course, as I said, I Say This thought that hey, she had the ultimate way of shutting us up. It's like,
I just exposed you. Y'all the same person. Y'all the same person.
And so I decided to let me conduct a little experiment here. Let me shut my channel off on private a little bit and watch her bury herself, because I knew what you did. I knew that was exactly what you were going to do. You were going to pump your fist and you were going to claim victory. You were going to talk about how you exposed us so badly that I shut my channel down and I took all my videos off, and because I exposed them, and see, ain't I great? I'm the victor here. I reign victorious, and see all the power I got, and I had your ass. And that's when you finally started to run away. Was when I showed you how much of an idiot and how much of a fool that you really were, and then I laid that challenge on your ass. Suddenly you got real quiet real quick. Except, again, as I said, to keep, trying to act like you were so holier or so much smarter than everybody else. Like,
oh, this is just another one of those general Backlash accounts just trolling me.
Hey, if it didn't say General Backlash, if it didn't say Kid Brother, if it didn't say New Talented 10th, trust me, dear, it wasn't me. So, at this point, sheesh, I don't know. How long have I run my mouth on this thing?
Wow. Will you shut up?
I got my girlfriend in the background trying to tell me how long I've been on this thing. She don't know the first thing about it. And but no. Oh yeah, by the way, but then again, I don't even have to say this because you knew already. But so I'm not even going to talk about it. But that little thing that you were talking about is like,
ain't no woman that's gonna want General Backlash. He's just like,
well, gee, you sure could have surprised me because I don't know. I got a woman. Where's your man? Hello, speak up. I can't hear you. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so this whole idea about, me being so harsh and brash and acerbic and so high on myself and anything that no woman would want me, I don't know. I found one and I warned her from the get-go. It's like, well, you have to understand some things about me. I'm not the easiest character to get along with. Oh, I like your rough edges. Okay. Well, as long as you think you can handle it and deal with it, fine. But just remember, you've been forewarned. And so far, she's stuck around with me now for about the past year now. And so, I don't know. Like I said, I've got my woman. I say this with crotch rot. Where's your man? Oh, that's right. You're still complaining about how black men ain't shit and how black men ain't worth nothing and how black men are unworthy and everything. So, who's the miserable one here, huh? You don't have to answer that question. I know. You answer that question every time you look in the mirror. So, so that's really what it comes down to. You and that cunt sniffer that keeps following you around, and that Spanish hag that also is up there in your corner, and those types. We know your story. Y'all are just a bunch of bitter, broken, dejected, burnt out, washed up and used and abused, unloved, undesired, and unappreciated, seen their day come and gone, if you ever had a day to begin with. And so y'all are just bitter, pissy, angry, and bitchy over the fact that there are black women out there, or women period, who are actually finding black men that they can say, hey, I like this guy, or I can make a partnership with this person. They're good to me, I'm good to them. And we've got something that a whole lot of these bitter black hags out there can't seem to get, or they can't seem to find. Well, gee, if you ever ask these women who keep finding these good black men what the problem is, and then have them listen to psychotic sea hags like you, they'll tell you right off the start, oh shit, well, it's no wonder they ain't got a black man, or any man at all, let alone. Because hell, who would want to be around that 24/7? So even they see what you're full of. They know why you're all bitter and lonely and dejected and rejected. Because of the simple fact that you don't have anything to offer a black man. And so the black men that you do attract, they're worthless, useless bums or unmotivated, this, that, and the other. They ain't trying to be a family. They just want to hit it, quit it, and split. And then so you just keep running on your whole, oh, black men ain't shit. Yeah, the black men that find you attractive ain't shit. Because a decent quality black man, even if you were to overlook the fact that you aren't exactly the prettiest thing on the face of planet Earth, far from it, but if you had the proper attitude, and that's what these so-called black women bashers keep saying as their number one complaint about black women is, you gotta change that fucked up attitude. You gotta get off your damn high horse, you gotta come down to earth a little bit, and you've got to realize that there's only so much that a reasonable, responsible, decent, quality black man is ever going to want to put up with. And if he can't find it with a black woman, he'll find it with a white woman or some other woman. My girlfriend's has an uncle, married a black woman, bitched him out throughout his entire damn marriage. They got divorced. He remarried a younger woman of Asian descent, and he's happier now than he's ever been. See, that's the problem with black women. They don't know how to play their role, because they've let themselves be convinced that being hard and being brash and being all sassy and attitudinal is the way to win a man's heart. And this is part of what Colonel Wisdom was trying to tell you heifers, was the fact that you got to come off this shit before you can even expect a decent black man to even pay the first lick of attention to you. Because we already see you ain't got it in the looks department. We see that already off the bat. So if you ain't got it there, then you got to make up for it someplace else. And it's either going to be by having a sweet attitude, somebody who's agreeable that you can actually be around, or you got to learn how to suck dick like a pro, and to be able to suck golf balls through garden hoses. Because those are your only options. And of course, if you take option 2, then of course all your whole attitude is always going to be niggas ain't shit, because you can't find a black man who wants you for anything other than sex. And whose fault is that? That ain't his fault. If he's a slime bucket, it's because too many black women out there insist on him being a slime bucket. Not only because you don't demand better, but also because of the fact is that that's all you seem to attract, or seem you want to attract, because you won't make the changes in yourself, so that, hey, maybe she's demanding a better type of a black man, maybe I ought to be a better type of a black man too, if I want to get with that. And see, this is where it all starts. Any of these little cyber beefs that get started with the general, as far as these black hoes out there trying to slander me and trying to shove me in front of the train and all this mess, all that stuff comes as a result of the fact is like, look, I'm calling you out on where your errors are lying. You need to fix yourself before you can expect us to pay you any attention. But of course that doesn't sit too well, because of the fact is, like, black women, or the common consensus is black women can do no wrong. We're perfect just the way we are, and if you can't handle us and deal with us the way that we are, then fuck you, nigga. Well, okay. Knocking on Heather's door. Remember my little slogan? That's what it's all about. Time to hop that fence and look elsewhere, because the fact is, black women have abandoned black men. It would be easy enough to say that black men abandon black women, but again, as I said, black women have the power to change all that. Change of your attitude, change of your requirements, change of your realistic expectations. Let black men know that, look, you've got to be about something before I forget about even opening my legs to you, before I open my heart to you. We can talk about opening my legs to you later, but if you can't win my heart, then nigga, you sure as hell ain't gonna win my crotch. But see, saggy sows like you, and like those like you, y'all don't understand those principles. Y'all would rather deal with no good, ruthless, and obnoxious Negroes who ain't about shit, who don't want to be about shit, who are all about their own gratification, because that's okay with you. You would much rather, because it's easier for you. It's easier to just get dick. You yourself admitted it. In fact, on one of those mirrored uploads that Cassandra has posted, you yourself even admitted getting dick is easy. That's out of your own mouth. So you right there acknowledged what your problem is. You just love dick too much, and you're using that as your litmus test of trying to get a relationship, and it doesn't work that way. You've got to have somebody touch your heart before they touch your vagina. If you're going to be smart about it, if you want to see black men be better, you've got to get them to appeal to you on an intellectual and an emotional level first. But no, you black hoes out there, y'all think that sex equals love, sex equals love, sex equals love, maybe that's what you mean when you say I say this with love. Maybe that's exactly what you mean. I don't know. Fill me in on that. But anyway, I done ranted and rambled enough times about this because there's only so much that I can say about this and, tear you up with the red ass, both with the stuff that you said out of your own mouth and plus with my own little swipes at you because, like I said, you thought that you were making somebody else look bad or you were being nasty to somebody else. Like I said, you ain't seen nasty until you've seen the general unleash. Talk to some of the people who know what it's like to go up against the general firsthand in these forums, and they'll tell you how nasty I can really get. So I've pretty much been playing with kitten gloves with you at this point, but if you really want to see me let loose, say the word. I'll show you exactly what giving red ass is really all about, from a embarrassing, making you a mockery of things. But like I said, I would rather have you make the mockery of yourself, though, simply by using your own words and your own text against you. Because that's the most effective way to shoot your shit down. So I didn't have to get a hold of your pictures, because even if I had gotten a hold of them, I would have never posted them. All I would have done, I just would have said, look, I've seen them, and everything I said about her is 100% correct. If she wants to prove me wrong, all she's got to do, she can post the pictures up herself. And if she posts the wrong ones up, I'll make sure I'll inform everybody about that too, just to make sure that she's kept straight and honest on that. But like I said, you've already told me more than enough that I needed to bury your ass. That's why you ran away. That's why you hid your face. And you hid your activity. That's why you got real quiet, except when you thought that, I'm going to say his name so I can have another wild orgasm, and I can get that done without him ever having to find out about it. Because you knew these people weren't me. Because you knew as soon as you said anything to me directly, I would have come after your ass hard. So you knew that those people weren't me. Because had you come after me, I would have made sure I'd done everything to make sure that I burned your ass as a result of it. And if I couldn't get into a text comment because you put blackity blackity black black, like a little kid. So okay, but I say, okay, I've still got channels. I can still upload videos, and of course, people are going to listen to my videos more than they're going to read a little comment on one of your videos or one of your channels anyway. So actually, you just defeated your own purpose. Because see, now the word's getting out far and wide now. So you could have just kept it as text comments, and the beef would have just been between you and me and your little handful of followers, and that would have been the end of it. But no, you wanted to pull out the big guns. I'm like, okay, I'll show you how it's done then. If you want to get some exposure, let the general give you some exposure. How you like me now? So, yeah, it took a long time. It took a year's worth of silence, but that doesn't mean that just because I was silent or we were silent didn't mean that we forgot. Especially didn't mean that I forgot, because like I said, I was waiting in the wings. I knew you were going to fuck up somewhere, somehow. I knew that you were going to do something that was going to cause you to bury yourself. All I needed to do was just, like a vulture, just wait for the carcass to die. So how do you like that little bite of that karma's nipping you in the ass with? How do you like being trolled now? How do you like it getting on the shitty end of the stick for a change? all the stuff that you launched out at other people, all the slandering, all the lies, all the stuff that you were trying to do to be nasty at somebody else to make them look all ridiculous and everything. How does it feel now that you're getting some of that stuff back? You know, you've heard that term before, you know, what goes around comes around. As ye have done, so shall it be done unto you. How's it feel now? Are you happy now with the results? You better be, because like I said, the floodgates have been unleashed and there's no stopping this torrent now. Because just because you got one expose knocked down, there are more out there. There are at least 3 different channels that have been committed to making sure that your little exposure continues to be exposed. And of course, as I said too, there are sites off of YouTube also, which are also going to be instrumental in making sure that it gets out there and that the word gets around. Because we want you to see exactly what your nasty shenanigans resulted in. You don't have anybody to blame for this but yourself. And it all could have been avoided with, oh yeah, the apology that I understand that in your video you're saying that if Colonel of Wisdom had simply apologized to you like a lady or like a woman, all this would have been over. She wasn't the one that needed to apologize for anything. If anything, you should have apologized to me and then let it drop. Because you started this whole shit got started when you came at me cockeyed. But you were not woman enough to come back at the general and say, hey man, I'm sorry. Just because we had a disagreement on a particular issue and everything, I'm sorry I slandered your name, and I'm sorry that I said all these nasty things about you, and I don't like the negative feedback that I'm getting as a result of me coming at you all cockeyed and all wrong and everything. So if you'll please accept my apology, I'll take this stuff down and I'll do my mea culpa and everything. I would have gone my own way. I would have appreciated that. But see, that's not how you wanted to play it, and that's the way that frauds like you don't ever like to play it. And so, since that's your nature, I'll just play it the way that you want to play it. Because as I said, it's all going to come back around and it's going to bite you in your ass, and it's going to bite you very hard. See, all the stuff that you did to me or that you thought you were doing to me, like I said, it was no big deal. I could bear under it. Yeah, it upset me, but like I said, I knew I can only be upset for so long, because I know all I got to do is watch and wait and keep listening, because eventually it's going to get back to me that, hey, the big major fuck up that was bound to happen with her finally came to pass. And when I saw it, I just like, this is the day. I have been vindicated. Whereas, as I said, even after starting to beef with me, you still could have been the one who got vindicated, because all you had to have done was just throw your ugly little puss out there when I asked you to, the way I asked you to, which was not asking a whole lot. In fact, it was asking very little. But if you had done just that one thing, I would have been the one to look like a fool. I would have been the loser. You would have been the one pumping your fist in victory. But I knew you weren't going to do that. So, like I said, I gave it time, and now everybody knows that it was the general all along who was the one who was going to end up being the victor in this whole thing. So you've lost on every front. From the very beginning you lost. But because you wanted to let it ride out the way that you let it ride out, and now this has happened, you said you don't know what to do with your channel now, if you wanted to use it for something else, or if you wanted to shut it down. Take my suggestion and my advice. Shut it down, because you're cooked. There's no way to wiggle out of this one now. It's over for you. So at this point, the only thing I can suggest is, well, if you're going to keep your channel, well, you might as well just go ahead and put your ugly mug out there now anyway. Because it's a done deal already. You've been roasted. So, But, choice is yours. I can't tell you what to do. I can only make the suggestion. But know this, and you will know this from this moment forward. You will know that after all was said and done, the general lit up that ass. And you're the one who ended up looking like the clown and the fool and the buffoon. And you could have saved yourself all this embarrassment. From the very early beginnings, you could have saved yourself all of this embarrassment. But now, I'm smiling a big grin on my face. It's called Schadenfreude. So, what you thought you were feeling back when you supposedly thought you were exposing me, blah, 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 I've exposed General Backlash. Now you know what real expose is all about. This is what it really means to expose somebody. I hope you like the results. General Backlash off of my girlfriend's computer, and hopefully by next week I'll be back onto my own thing and I can do my little fanfare and start acting all epic and everything like I normally do whenever I upload one of these things. But hey, actually I guess this one really didn't need all that fanfare anyway. I guess because this is epic ownage enough, I guess. So it serves its purpose either way. And I just hope, in fact, I think I'm actually going to share this with the Colonel also. I'll get in contact with her and I'll ask her if she wouldn't mind uploading a mirror of this one also, just so that because our audiences we have a lot of the same audience, but we also have like certain differences in our audience also. So she has people that are subscribed to her, that I have people that subscribe to me that. But either way, if it gets further out there, and then of course I'll probably see if I can get it uploaded on Cassandra's channel also, just to get the whole thing going and spread out and around and everything. Because like I said, the word's out now, and I want to make sure that the word stays out, and that nobody gives you a moment's breath. That I want to see this ship go down, and I want to see you gurgling and gargling and going down for the third time. Because I think this one might do it. If it doesn't, then okay, then you've got a stronger stock than I gave you credit for. But I think this is the end for you. I think you're pretty much a done deal already. So, but like I said, either way, I don't care. Stick around if you want to, but like I said, if you stick around, remember, I'm going to keep watching and I'm going to keep listening. And when you screw up and you come at me cockeyed, or you try to say something slanderous, or you try to change your story around and everything, I will be back to set the record straight. And that's a promise. So, you do what you think is best. I'll just stand in the background, watching from the sidelines. And, as I said, I'll respond accordingly, depending on what you decide to do from here on out. End of line.